Hey guys, welcome back to Base MMA. In this video, I'm going to be reacting to UFC 299. This is going to be my raw reaction to the card. And this was an amazing card from start to finish. I think the prelims were a little bit lackluster, but when it came to the main card, it was amazing. Probably one of the best pay-per-view main cards we've gotten in the last couple of months, I would say. I mean, UFC 298 was also pretty solid. 297 wasn't that good. 296 wasn't that good either. But man, this card was amazing. I've lost my voice from so much yelling. I absolutely love watching the UFC. And I'm gonna ramble a lot in this video. Probably tomorrow I'll come up with another video actually discussing the fights more in depth. I'll probably go back and rewatch the fights. But this is gonna be my raw reaction to the card. And let's start off with the main event. Sean O'Malley absolutely dominated Marlon Vera. And a lot of you guys that were picking Chito Vera, because so many of you guys in my comment section were picking Chito Vera. Oh, Chito Vera is going to win. Chito Vera, bad stylistic matchup. Chito Vera this. And even though in my own prediction video and breakdown of the Sean O'Malley fight, the Sean O'Malley Vera 2 fight, I did give a lot of respect to Vera. Look, I said, look, I think Sean O'Malley's clearly the better fighter, but Vera obviously has that puncher's chance. He has that chance because he's so durable, has an amazing chin, he has good cardio, and I think that when it gets to the fourth, fifth round, I think Marlon Vera is going to be very dangerous. But because I think O'Malley is going to do so well in those early rounds, I thought he was going to be able to survive the fourth and fifth. And that's kind of how the fight turned out, exactly how I predicted. I predicted a decision, and I said, look, O'Malley's just a better fighter, man. This guy is as good as it gets. And what's gonna happen now is that a lot of you guys, you know who you are, that were commenting that Chito Vera was gonna win. You're gonna be saying, "Oh, O'Malley's so good now." Like you're gonna pretend like you weren't the one picking Chito Vera to knock out O'Malley. And like I said, like if you were picking Marlon Vera, I mean, you were pretty much just depending on that puncher's chance. I always thought O'Malley was a better fighter. I didn't even think Marlon Vera was top 5 in the bantamweight division. And it's kind of why I wasn't really rooting for Marlon Vera because, look, I know a lot of people don't like Sean O'Malley because of who he is outside the cage. I absolutely understand that. But when it comes to him inside the cage, his fighting ability, his fighting skill, he's one of the best in the world. And for me, for Marlon Vera to end up winning this fight by a KO in the fourth or fifth, to me would kind of diminish the title because I really don't think Marlon Vera is one of the best bantamweights in the world, in my opinion. You know, I think guys like Merab would beat him. I think even Peter Yan would beat him. Corey Sandhagen exposed him probably like a year ago. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that long ago. So I really wanted Sean O'Malley to win this fight, even though, like I said, I don't really care about his personality outside the cage. I feel like this whole narrative and discussion about Sean O'Malley being a star is just retarded. Like, who cares how the guy speaks on camera? Like, who cares how he speaks on the mic? Because when the guy fights, when he's in the octagon, even when he's dominating a fight like this, where it wasn't really a fight until the fourth and fifth round, just seeing Sean O'Malley treat Marlon Vera like a punching bag is entertaining. Like, I could watch that for 5 more rounds. Sean O'Malley is that entertaining in the cage, switching stances. I mean, Marlon Vera was biting on every feint. The right hand was landing, his jab, the teep to the body. It was just giving Marlon Vera so many problems. O'Malley just had such a speed advantage in this fight. It was absolutely incredible. I'm so impressed by this guy, and I really think he has a good chance of beating Merab. Now, I feel like that fight is a lot more interesting because it's shown now that O'Malley can go 5 rounds, and I don't think Merab has the striking threat of a Marlon Vera, even though, you know, I mean, who's made Marlon Vera look like this? Like, we've seen people dominate Marlon Vera, but who has damaged Marlon Vera the way O'Malley just did? Like, I feel like if Marlon Vera didn't get knocked out in this fight, he's probably never going to get knocked out because Sean O'Malley landed a nasty knee in the third round. Looked like Marlon Vera was on skates. I thought, man, he's going to get dropped or, you know, it's going to be a doctor stoppage. But Marlon Vera is just durable as they come, and he's still dangerous. I mean, he had moments in the fourth round where he started to actually land on O'Malley. O'Malley was starting to slow down. He would actually duck, and I was afraid that Marlon Vera was going to be able to time an uppercut or something like that because I was like, oh, O'Malley keeps ducking his head, and I was starting to get a little bit concerned for O'Malley. But then O'Malley in that second half of that fourth round actually started to put the pace again and just started landing a bunch of combinations on Marlon Vera. And Marlon Vera, like I said, he's never been an elite fighter. Nothing against the guy, but to me, he's just never been an elite fighter in the bantamweight division, and it showed tonight, right? O'Malley showed levels. Probably one of the best title fight performances I've seen in a very long time, man. I mean, maybe the Cody Garbrandt Dominic Cruz fight comes to mind, that bantamweight title performance, but this is one of the best bantamweight title performances I've ever seen. And Sean O'Malley deserves all the credit, guy, entertainment and fighting skill inside the octagon, because that's what matters. That's why you tune in for this sport, to see these guys show their fighting ability in the octagon. And O'Malley's one of the best bantamweights we've ever had. And that fight with Merab becomes a lot more interesting. His fight potentially with Poirier down the line is going to get a lot more interesting, even though I want to see that fight at some point. I just don't want to see it next. I want to see Sean O'Malley cement his legacy in the bantamweight division, because if he could get through someone like Merab, I mean, he definitely deserves a shot at the featherweight division. And if he beats someone like Merab on a crazy win streak, I mean, O'Malley might be one of the best bantamweights we've ever had. Like, he's on that trajectory. He's that good inside the octagon, man. He's that good. And that's why, even though you guys were making very good points that, Marlon Vera has that chance in the 4th and 5th round, I was like, man, I just feel like O'Malley's too good. He's getting a lot better. He's growing into his own. His confidence is going to be an all-time high coming from the Aljamain Sterling fight. And I feel like his coach, Tim Welch, was going to prepare him for this fight. They were going to tell him, you know what? You might have to go 5 rounds with Marlon Vera, because Marlon Vera is durable. And even though, O'Malley wasn't able to get him out of there in the first couple rounds, O'Malley was still able to adapt and put the damage for 5 rounds. So it shows you that O'Malley's dangerous for 5 rounds. And it also showed a little bit that he has a good chin and he has grit. I mean, we learned that in the Peter Yan fight, but it was good to see, O'Malley being another gritty fight, especially in that 4th and 5th round. Even though he was dominating, he did get hit a lot. I mean, Marlon Vera landed 89 significant strikes in the whole fight. I mean, he still hit Sean O'Malley a lot. And even Sean O'Malley after the fight, he was limping. You could tell he was hurting. He was probably hurting from just punching Marlon Vera so much and nothing happening. I mean, Marlon Vera has a titanium chin, or I don't know what his chin is made out of. It needs to be studied. The fact that he wasn't dropped and finished, that knee in the 3rd round would have knocked out anyone else. It's absolutely incredible. But guys, O'Malley is the bantamweight champion, as good as it gets. And like I said, even though, we do complain about his trash talk, how he's kind of cringy on the mic, I don't really care, because when this guy fights, I'm gonna tune in, because I know his fighting style is one of the best. Is one of the best strikers in the UFC. Maybe the best striker in the UFC. Maybe that's up for debate. But just an incredible performance by Sean O'Malley. Now let's talk a little bit about Benoit Saint-Denis versus Dustin Poirier. An amazing fight. I mean, a war exactly as we expected. And, I did pick Benoit Saint-Denis. Maybe not as confident as some other YouTubers were picking, like Lucas Tracy. And in my prediction and breakdown, I told you guys, look, I think Benoit is going to win, because I've seen in Poirier's fights that he struggles against grapplers. And that honestly was the main reason why I was picking Benoit Saint-Denis. And I saw, look, I've seen Benoit. He does get very sloppy on the feet. And if at any point he starts to get very sloppy on the feet, I think, Dustin Poirier has a nasty left straight and a nasty left cross, a good right hook. And if he starts to get sloppy in the pocket with Poirier, Poirier could put him down. And that's kind of exactly what happened. The only thing I will say is that I was surprised by how fast Benoit actually gassed out. Like, I was pretty surprised. And look, I'm not going to make excuses for the guy. There was some rumors of some staph infection. And honestly, I didn't really look too in depth into that. Maybe that does play a role. But regardless of that, I mean, the guy took the fight. He didn't pull out. So you have to give Dustin Poirier the full credit for that. And, Dustin Poirier was just always a lot better on the feet. I mean, I said it in my own breakdown and prediction. When it comes to technique, when it comes to experience, Poirier definitely has the advantage. I just thought, Benoit's going to have a lot more success in the grappling. And I thought his cardio would hold up, and it really didn't, because in that 2nd round, like I said, he absolutely gassed. Even though he was having a lot of success with the grappling, it seemed like there was a lot, like Poirier was under a lot of pressure in that 1st round, and he wasn't really able to get his rhythm in the striking. And yeah, I mean, I'm incredibly happy to get my pick wrong. Like I said, I wasn't too confident about Benoit, but I was picking him because, younger fighter, more momentum, Poirier coming off a head kick knockout, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. I think there was a lot of actual good reasons to pick Benoit Saint-Denis. I'm not gonna go ahead and just say, oh no, man, if you pick Benoit, you're an idiot, you know, because there was actually some good reasons. I think there was some legitimate reasons. But I mean, seeing Poirier win, as somebody who's been watching the UFC for quite a while now, seeing Poirier win a vet, I mean, that's always going to make me happy. I'm not gonna care if I get my pick wrong, because seeing Dustin Poirier get a vintage knockout over Benoit Saint-Denis was just absolutely amazing. Love the guy so much. I'm glad he's not retiring. He's in a very interesting point in his career. I don't know what's next. I think Benoit still has a lot of potential. I feel like we really didn't see his best in this fight. As much as some of you guys just want to say cope and stuff, we really didn't see the best version of Benoit Saint-Denis. And, you know, he's still 27, 28 years old. So he's still going to come back from this. Probably going to be in some big fights. So, you know, I feel like Benoit didn't really have much to lose. He has a lot to gain. Now he's going to have a lot of more experience of being in there with somebody like Dustin Poirier. And then what other fight? MVP versus Kevin Holland. I didn't announce it on the channel, but I actually did change my pick to MVP. And if you guys don't believe me, you can go to my my Instagram page at Real Based MMA, and I posted, yeah, I was switching my pick to Michael Venom page, and you know, I'm glad that I did that. You know, I know I didn't actually like announce it on the channel, on the community forum or whatever, but I did change my pick to MVP because I thought, you know, he has a weird, funky striking style, and I feel like Kevin Holland doesn't really try. He's not going to take the risk, and that's kind of what happened. I mean, Michael Venom Page pretty much dominated the fight. It wasn't like this banger fight of the night that people were expecting. It was an okay fight, you know, pretty much domination from MVP. Then Gilbert Burns versus Jack Della Maddalena. Gilbert Burns was actually dominating the fight, was having a lot of success with the grappling in the first and second round, and was actually landing the hardest shots on JDM. Even though JDM was landing like the better combinations, it was more of like pepper shots. Like he wasn't actually like hitting Gilbert Burns clean, and he didn't have like a lot of pop in his shots. And Burns was actually landing like pretty hard strikes on JDM. And on that third round, I believe it was the third round, there was probably like 1 or 2 minutes left. JDM gets back to his feet. It was like a weird reversal. He gets back to his feet, and Burns tries to go for a takedown again. He dives for a takedown, and JDM just catches him with a knee that just catches Burns clean with a knee that just drops him, finishes him, and that was the end of the fight. But man, Gilbert Burns was on his way to winning, and I felt really bad for him because I really did feel like Gilbert Burns was on his way to winning. And JDM, you know, I feel like he still has a lot to learn. I don't know if he beats the top welterweights right now. I feel like he was struggling a bit at the feet. You know, Gilbert Burns was actually looking pretty good for being 37 years old, but JDM was able to pull the KO. It is what it is. Now, moving on to Peter Yan versus Song Yadong. I picked Song Yadong, and I will admit that was a cold pick. That was a cold pick because I'm a big Peter Yan fan, and I was like, you know what? Peter Yan, 3 fights. He's lost 3 fights. I get it. Those fights were very close, but I thought, you know, momentum is a real thing. I don't know where his confidence is at. I don't know where his head's going to be at. And I thought, you know, Song was going to have the power advantage. This is a boxing fight. And I thought, you know what? Peter Yan might be landing more shots, but I feel like Song Yadong is going to be landing the harder shots. And that kind of did play out in a way. I feel like Song Yadong was actually landing the harder shots, but he did slow down, and Peter Yan was able to get the takedowns and have a little bit of control time. He was able to win the fight, even though I personally thought, I'm gonna have to go back and rewatch it. I thought the fight was a lot more, a lot closer than the way it was judged. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I'm a little bit biased in the sense that you know, every time Peter Yan was getting hit, I was like, oh man, no, Peter Yan, don't get hit, don't get hit. So maybe I was a little bit biased in that sense, but I thought the fight was a lot closer than the decision, if that makes sense. So, you know, good performance by Peter Yan, good performance by Song Yadong. I'm not going to say that Peter Yan is necessarily back and he's, you know, back to be championship level. I don't know. I feel like he still needs to maybe fight a Corey Sandhagen. Maybe, I don't know, he needs to fight Marlon Vera. Somebody to see, okay, is Peter Yan really back? And I want to see him in a 5-round fight, but it's still amazing. I'm so happy about this card because guys like Peter Yan, Poirier won, O'Malley put a dominant performance. Like I said, one of my favorite cards. And this is just my raw reaction. I'm going to be posting videos in the next couple of days of talking about what's next, a full review of the card. I actually talk about the fights more in depth because this is just my raw reaction after first viewing. I want to go back and rewatch it and actually analyze the fights, guys. But I hope you guys enjoy the cards. I hope you guys enjoy the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.